You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. I'm your boy, Al Mega. Welcome, one and all. I appreciate it. Yo, today we got an amazing guest. Yo, homie over here has been doing it. I mean, he's a professional illustrator working on editorial. He's a concept design artist. He's a storyboarder, a narrative artist. I mean, he's kicking his ass in Dark Horse right now, working with legends. Who am I talking about? Oh my God, guys, you guys have no idea. This amazing person is Mr. Warwick Johnson Cadwell. Bro, what's popping, kiddo? How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Thanks. You?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. I mean, for you, it's tonight. For me, it's today.
That's it.
Don't you love these time differences, folks, when we do these podcasts? My man, yo, tell everybody, where you at right now?
I am England, UK, South Coast, just by the sea.
Hey, just by the sea. Check you out, bro. So you getting some suntan? Is this why you're a little red today? You were getting some sun?
No, it's cold and no sun. Not for months. But the house is warm. That's why I'm red.
Excellent, brother. So born and bred in England?
Yep.
Great. And how was your upbringing there, man? Especially when it came to pop culture.
Well, good. Moved around a bit. Found a spot down in the south, but yeah, and the pop culture's there. We've got just sort of the British English version of it. So with American stuff sort of crept in.
Oh, so you hardcore the UK stuff. So 2000 AD and all that European book stuff.
That was the start. That was the start because that's all there was. Every now and then you'd find a newsagent that have American comic books, and around here there'd be like
I love those words, newsagents and all. I mean, we call them newsstands over here.
So no, and you just hit the jackpot because they'd be shipped in and. Some would sit on shelves for months, so you'd suddenly find a bunch of American titles.
Really? They just sit there? Wow, ignored?
Well, yeah.
Do you Brits not like us over there? Is that it?
Well, certain places, because this town's by the sea, sort of holiday, sort of seaside town. So all winter the books would just pile up on the newsagents because no one would be visiting. And though in those days. Spring, the season was coming, and suddenly if you get there first, you'd get the whole winter's worth if you had to catch.
Oh damn, really? Wow. I hope your grandparents and parents gave you some money instead of clothes.
I got a few books.
So talk about that though. I mean, what was the first love, man? How did you find the culture? Was it mommy? Was it daddy? Was it uncle, auntie? I mean, who was it?
It had to be mum.
Always mom.
Well, yeah. Because she did the shopping, so she.
Lazy dads don't want to. I shop as a dad, just to let you know.
Well, I'm a dad and I do the shopping too, but no, it would have been mum because she did the shopping. But then we had comics delivered. I had Eagle, that's an old.
You were getting. Wait, your parents had you on subscription?
Well, it came. We had newspapers delivered. It came through. Newsagent. They sent it out, and it came through the door. So there was a time when Saturday morning I knew the Eagle was coming, but my dad got it first. So.
Dad.
I had to wait, but yeah.
Excellent. So, how easy was it for you to find a tribe of like-minded individuals in your town growing up?
Yeah, they sort of all fell into place. I don't know if we just sort of it was school, and
well, you're one of those kids taking stuff that you shouldn't have to school.
Yeah,
you can't get in trouble now. Who cares?
Yeah. No, that's. But yeah, because they were comics, so comic books, and so you you could sort of sweet talk the teachers. You know, we're reading. You know,
We're reading. Yeah, but don't take a toy. How dare you?
Well, that's it. Yeah, you know, anything else, but.
Oh, too
No,
funny.
no, no. So you just, I don't know. I just fell in my pals, you know, groups of friends were people who like this sort of stuff. So comics, TV cartoons, sort of movies.
How was TV you growing up? I mean, when it came to pop culture, what was the first thing that attracted you? You're like, oh my god, I want to do this, and you started dressing up.
Well, it was just, I mean, it's a few years ago, and in the UK,
Yeah, only a few years ago. He's a very young man.
Yeah. But in the UK, we had 3 TV channels, and then
3.
Then we had 4.
Wait! You're fucking with me. What year are we talking about? You only had 3 TV channels?
I think we got to 4 in the 1980s. We
What?
had a fifth one.
Sorry, jeez.
Yeah,
God.
5th one came maybe late 80s. But this place we lived too close to France, so they had the signal, so we didn't get the 5th channel.
Oh
So,
man!
you know, so we you know, we had scheduled kids programs certain times a day, early in the morning, after school times.
Of course, early morning and
and
after
then
school.
once then that's finished, you know, it was the news. It was onto some other business. So you know, you flip between one of the 3 or 4 channels. So we'd be watching Sherlock Holmes, black and white, you know, Sherlock Holmes movie. Charlie Chan. It was, you know, we just had to make.
Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry, but you were tortured as a kid. Apparently, I mean that's good stuff. But damn, we had better, and we had more channels too.
Well, yeah. Well, this is it. This is, you know, talking about, you know, there'd even be kids TV programs talking about America and or Japan. You know, showing us all the stuff they get to watch while we got to watch nothing.
Poor guy. Thank God there was no internet back then. You guys would have went nuts. Like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah. But now as a dad, now I'm sort of grumpy, sort of sitting there thinking, my God, they've got all this stuff.
Yeah, right. They're so privileged. I mean, I know. I tell my daughter all the time, "You're so privileged." You know, I had to wake up early or whatever. Now, at the touch of a button, you can watch it whenever you want.
Well, yeah, that's it. Because you had to be in the house when your program was on. Because if you know, cartoons were on and you were out or stuck, or you know,
let me tell you, I was running in home 3 o'clock. I like, yo, GI Joe's at 3:30. I gotta run, son. Yeah. You know, and then I'll do my homework. Great stuff. So, all right. So here you are. You're finding your journey. You're in the UK out there doing your thing, man. When did the creative bug bite you?
Well, that kind of was there all the while, just because it was like it was for when the TV shows weren't on, you know.
Okay.
TV was, so I was just drawing. It was, you know, I'd be watching.
What was your first go-to drawing? Was it something original, or were you emulating something you saw?
I don't remember. I remember.
I'm taking you back, bro. It's a hypnotism session.
Well,
look into my eyes.
One of my first drawing memories. And there must have been, I mean, you know, I was just all the time. I was at school. I was in a maths class. I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I don't know at what stage, I stopped listening to the lesson and I just drew every page of the exercise book. I was drawing cowboys and Indians, a big cowboy head, hat, moustache, next page, Indian, this, that. Well, which is what they were, you know, what we were calling it. It was the TV. So, you know, cowboys, westerns were on anyway. So, but those were the characters. So, and that was it. I got into trouble for that. But that was it. So, you know,
that started it
on the telly. Yeah, you know, I want to carry on. You know, the cartoons are finished. I want to carry on with it. So, get on and just start drawing them. And it would, because they'd be more like not interested in creating a picture, but you know, there'd be those army card drawings where you're drawing tons of tanks and loads of fellas all in the line, and then they all get blown up, and you know,
drawing that big bang must have been so much fun.
But that's how the page ended up at the end of it. You sort of
blow them up.
You draw carefully, drawing your tanks and jet planes and all sorts, and then just the whole lot gets smashed to bits.
I love it.
But it was more of almost an activity rather than that. You know, I didn't want to have a finished piece that looked fantastic.
Did you ever find a creative tribe while you were in school? You know, to join you in these fantasy stories that you were already creating, or you were a one-man band?
I went. We sort of magnets toward each other. These guys, they were artistic guys, or they were musicians, or they did other stuff. But often then, out of school, back home, and I was just, in my room doing my drawings by myself. So we didn't sort of make any books or anything like that in those days, and much earlier, what we call primary.
Let me ask here, because again, here you are, a kid that's being very creative. Were your parents supportive of this creative journey you were stepping into?
I can't remember particularly. Yes, I mean, they liked the stuff. I think my mum liked it more than my dad did, because my dad was.
Well, she puts you on. I mean, why not? Mamas, man. I love moms, man. It's so crazy. Like, right now we're at about 94% of creators have said it was my mom that bought me my first book and said, "Here, same with me." So it's like, yo, shout out to you ladies, yo, thank you. And ladies nowadays do the same thing for your kids, because you never know.
Yeah. So well, it was. I think they were encouraged, but they sort of were pleased to see me occupied. I could have probably done all sorts of other stuff, and they'd be just.
Thank God you were just occupied drawing instead of out in the streets, right?
Well, yeah.
That's great stuff, man. So, what was your first dabble into taking it serious now, as a creator?
Wow. Well, I was doing this stuff. I was at college. I did, went through high school, and then the exams after that. We did A levels, and I still wasn't sure where I was going to end up, but I wanted to get on. I ended up doing a degree in illustration.
Oh, wow, dope.
And so that was, yeah. And A levels, I was working. There was a comic shop opened in the town, which is pretty quiet town here, and long gone. But I mean, I was working there just weekends, but paid in comics. I wasn't getting paid in cash.
You were paid in comics. Hey, brother, you know what? As a kid, I don't mind getting paid in comics, because that shit eats up your budget anyway. Hey, that's the truth.
That's it. A day's work, and I got a pile of comics. But so
it is.
Yeah, university, and then I don't know, kind of the horizon spread. Started to look at other stuff. There was like children's books and bits and pieces like that.
YA and all that good stuff.
Yeah, all sorts, and animation. So as well, I did some work for animation companies. So
Wait a minute. What do you mean you did some work for anime? He's like trying like just pass by. What do you mean animation companies? Anything we know?
Yeah, when I finished college in '96, and
yeah, he's dating himself, but he's very bold and brave.
But I was at Bristol doing the course, and Aardman Animation are there. So
okay.
Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run.
Oh, dope. That's great stuff.
And so yeah, my first Chicken Run was my first job, but just a couple of weeks, just some concept. And then I did other stuff with Pirates, and then I had to go with that, which was awesome. But so then I was just working through from there. I did illustration, just editorial illustration jobs for magazines and books and bits and pieces. But sort of just got back into comics after a time. And
nice. So what made you take that step finally, though, that you said, okay, it's time for me to get into some comics, man? I mean, what was there a day that you can remember that you said, all right, that's it, I'm doing it?
I just was. It was. I could see again. Everyone was having fun. I went back to a comic con. I mean, as I say, I was working. I was all comics as a youngster, and then there was kind of a gap where I was sort of looking at other stuff.
Yeah, we became adults, and our interests changed for some time. But we always come back as a drug, bro.
Well, that's it. Well, I went from mountains of long boxes. They all went up when I went to university. So I just took a pile of the best stuff. But and then just came back. I started to see it was more active. Started blogging. I think putting just artwork. I was doing lots of artwork at home, same as I was when I was 7, just for my own stuff, and I was doing illustration editorially but the stuff I was doing was boring. It was like, I got a job. I did a few years for an Investors Chronicle magazine, which was exactly as interesting as it sounds. And it was an article.
Repeat that name.
Investors Chronicle.
Jeez, bro. Oh, man, I'm sorry. That was like you being a masochist. Let me torture myself.
Well, they needed it was a guy writing, and it was probably dead interesting for those guys, but they needed a piece, something to lighten the page up. So it was an illustration. So I just had to work out something, goofy to draw to brighten the page up. But that lasted for a while. But it just meant that I wanted to draw monsters and crazy creatures and or cowboys. But the agent just wanted businessmen in suits doing it for me, with a fun. Well, that was the jobs I was getting. So they just wanted more of that, and so that's why I started to put stuff on a blog, and then
is that how you got the bite?
Yeah, and then started to put more together, and then did some anthologies with folk, just because then that was where.
You mean some anthologies? How you got into anthologies? This guy tries to skip over. He's got into some anthologies. How the hell you get into the anthologies? What did you do to step into that?
Self-published stuff. So we were getting, people online. I was meeting people at comic shows, but also just meeting online.
So what type of comic shows you have? I mean, I know you guys call it more like comic marts, not comic cons or anything. So what type of shows were you going to? And any notable people you met?
Oh, yeah. We do. I mean, they're comic cons here now. They were comic marts, and they were now, but everyone's
now. There's cons. Hey.
It's like
he's like, "I'll shut up, man. Us in the UK got good shit too."
we've got a couple of big ones. There's sort of
wonderful.
There's some sort of arts kind of ones, sort of small press bits and pieces, and they're pretty good. They're good as well but different sorts of things. But we have one Thought Bubble. It's called Thought Bubble, and
I love Thought Bubble, man. Great people. Johnny, my boy from the UK, has been there. They bless us with opportunities to visit the show. So thank you. Yeah, I know that's a good show. So tell us your experience at Thought Bubble. That's the great shout.
Well, that's it. You've got everyone. You've got everyone there. You've got the big guys, and and then you've got the small press guys, and I'm trying to think of any names at the moment. I was at one show where I was signing a Tank Girl. I drew a Tank Girl.
Ooh, nice.
So
you did a Tank Girl issue?
I did four.
Oh, nice.
I did a few. I did, and some of the collected bits, but I was on my way to my first signing. Or a second signing ever. So I was talking to Jeff Darrow on the way past, because Jeff Darrow had a stable there, and that was amazing to speak to him. But then I got a message from someone else to say Fabio Moon, Gabriel Barr, they were in another table, but they were come over to buy some stuff from my table. So I was like, panic. So,
nice.
So no. So they're great. They're great places, and there's a few. We have a few shows about, but
excellent. Is that how you met Mignola, man? Because you guys are doing some stuff, man. Because I want to start getting into this amazing book that dropped this week, Falconspeare. I mean, I read it. Wow, read it in one sitting. A nice long read that made me feel all type of ways as we were talking pre-show. So, talk about how did you even get acclimated? Like, meeting Mignola and stepping into this Dark Horse Comics universe.
Well, that was Thought Bubble Festival. That was the same thing.
It was dope. Wow.
We'd interacted. We'd sort of online. That was another big show. Meeting.
Shout out, Luis.
Was Duncan? Hiya. It was meeting Duncan Fagredo a few before. I'd done some. There's Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, the Disney film.
Okay.
There's Angela Lansbury, 1960s, and it's like one of these live action videos. But this is this film, but the end sequence, it's like in a small English town, and it's Second World War, and this U-boat comes in, and these Nazis come ashore, and she's a witch, and so she gets to this local museum and then animates all these knights, and they go and fight the invading Nazis as they
The
come
Nazis.
in.
It's fire. I love it.
So this is like Manola stuff. This is Nazis versus witches with ghost knights. So I was drawing stuff like this, and I was mixing them up. So I did some Hellboy characters, and I did them with these Bedknobs and Broomsticks characters. And he saw this. Mike Manola saw this stuff.
He saw this.
He emailed. Someone let him know. Someone had showed him, and he emailed. I got an email from someone.
Yeah,
and it was one of those instances where you say, "Well,
is this real?
Is this really you?
Is this spam?"
Yeah. And it's like, if it wasn't, then he's going to still say it is. It's. So I went to, there was a smaller show, and Duncan Fregredo was there, and this was just after he was announced. So I brought some of these images, and I just showed them to him and said, have you seen these? Because someone had said that they'd showed him to him, and he had showed them to Mike. And he confirmed it. So this was.
I remember. He goes. I remember, like the member berries from South Park. I remember.
That was it. So but we were in a thought bubble. Mike Manola and Faith Erin Hicks and there's another guy, great artist. But four of us were on a sketch panel, so we were just working and being interviewed whilst. We'd be while we were drawing, so we I was looking over Mike Manola's shoulder, and I don't know if he was looking over mine. But afterwards, I went around, gave him some of my books, and said, "Look, we've spoken a bit online, but and he said there and then that we should do a book together."
Oh, wow, he said it right there and then.
Yeah, and I thought it'll never happen, but I don't care because that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
You were smart. You looked like the Joker that day, right?
and I thought that if nothing happens,
so great.
It'll still be the best thing ever. But then a few weeks later, he got back in touch. I drew I'd posted a picture of a vampire, and he just got back in touch and said, we should really do this. And then that happened a couple more times, and then the momentum turned up, and then there was a story, and
God bless.
And Mr. Higgins turned up, so that was it.
Talk about, where did you dive for Mr. Higgins?
Well, what's that?
Why did you dive for all these things that you again, because now you guys have created this unique universe.
Yeah.
Where were you diving into? How was this whole experience, especially, working with a legend, and then you got to work with his team too?
Yeah.
And they're asking you here to work. Do you work on everything on a traditional medium, pencil and ink, or do you work digitally too?
Pencil.
Oh, look at that on screen. Let me put that bigger. Hey, look at that pencil. Wow.
Pencil.
What type of pencil is that? What point is it?
This is a 0.9.
Okay.
0.9, which is the same as a 1.0. I don't know whether you can just swap.
He goes the same.
And it's
it's math, man. They want to mess us up.
Yeah, I hate math. Man, Zebra graphics. These guys, they were cheap. They're not so cheap now.
But they were, because people like you started using it, and they saw like, all right, we're gonna capitalize on this.
I should have kept my mouth shut right from the beginning.
You should be a spokesman. Come on now.
Yeah, well, I do that instead. But then I do digital coloring, so the pencils are scanned. So I'm working more on ink now, but these books have all been just pencil.
Pencil, man. You go that old school route, man. What's that process like? And again, talk about that journey of you building this whole universe with Mignola too, because that's insane. This guy, you go, this is a fantasy story. This is the comic book fans' wet dream. You go to the con, Mignola's like complimenting, we should work together, and you get an email a couple of weeks later, like, what the hell? Man, this is real.
It kept because at every stage there was a setup where it was all going to come apart. And again, like I said, I didn't care because I'd got as far as we had, and so
you're like, I'm getting to some type of plateaus.
Yeah, well, and then there was we're going to send it to the main guy so they can make decisions, and then we're going to send, and so there was loads of chances for it just not to work, and but it didn't, and we carried on, and then a box of books, the book was finished, printed. I had 30 books turn up, like comp copies, and I still didn't believe it was going to happen, even with the 30 books.
You had this physical proof, and you're like, "This is not real."
And that
Pinch me. Well, there's nobody around to pinch you. Is that the problem?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to be pinched enough, I tell you. I mean, you know, now that's the third book, so, and I'm still, it's still like crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's start showing some stuff off, man, because you know we get in there. But I mean, look at this dope cover. Look at this character. Look at everything here. This is by the legend himself, right?
Oh yeah. You know, he's done the covers. Dave Stewart's colored the covers. To just
yeah. How is it to work with such an iconic team this way, my brother?
Well, it is unbelievable. Kind of, you know, it is unbelievable. It's just like looking at these books. You know, I just want to make more and more because I just want to see more and more of these covers. But you know, these are work from my drawings, which is, you know,
yes, I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and you know, it's you know, I'm drawing these guys.
And look at Luis. He's so impressed. He's like, yo, a comic only in pencil. Your work is inspiring. Thanks for sharing.
Oh,
I mean, you have just made most likely a lifelong fan. I mean, look at this page. Now, this is you, right?
Yep.
Look at this. Look at this. A one-man band almost, right?
Well, yeah, now Mike wrote the first book, and I've written the second and the third now. So,
hey, check you out, man. I mean, you know, talk about this. You know, give us some tease because this isn't Comic Stops now, but entice our listeners. You know why they need to pick this up. Give us a little bit. Give us a little tease as they show off these beautiful pages.
Well, this is the characters. The two main characters, well, they started off, two of the characters from Mr. Higgins, which I said to Mike and to Dark Horse, can I do something with these guys? Because I, you know, wanted to do more. I loved the stories. Everything about Mr. Higgins Comes Home was awesome. So I took those two of the guys out and wrote the next book, which was 3 stories over 5 chapters. And then Mary Van Sloan came in, this female character. And so she was in part of the second book, and so Falconspeare, this is bringing in like the 4th guy. This is the foundation from the early days, because the first, it starts off as a flashback. This is them getting to grips with the vampire hunting back in, you know, but their formative years. So the earliest time so far.
But, yeah, man, and action there is, man, and I love how you use a more Nosferatu-ish vampire versus, you know, what is traditional, like the Lugosi, you know?
Yeah, I like to mix it up. There's a few, you know, there's some are quite Nosferatu. There's some that'll get, you know, a bit more Lugosi or Christopher Lee. You know, these this is one of the main parts of these books. Was we've got Mike Manola and I got this real, you know, shared love of those old school horror films.
Yeah, you and me both too, man. Or 3 of us, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's just so much inspiration with those, and the Hammer films as well. And so, you know, just
man. Yeah, I mean, Hammer films, bro. As an American, it was a love-hate relationship because I'm like, damn, the story is so cool, but damn, why is it always based in the old school shit, man? Can we get some cars in here? I mean, it's always horse and wagons and all. I'm like, can we get some modernized stuff too, please? You know, that's the only thing about Hammer. But I did enjoy. I mean, come on, man. Christopher Lee, iconic, and that was through Hammer. I don't give a fuck that is for me. You know, Bella, rest in peace. That was for my dad. You know, Christopher Lee is my Dracula.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, and you know, Bella's great.
Yeah, Bella's great, no doubt.
But yeah,
but look at these pages and talk the inspiration, especially panel usage and all that, because you know this is not a quick read. It's a nice long read. You make it fun, but you have beautiful arts and beautiful panel usage, great lettering. Talk about that.
Well, thanks. My trouble I find with writing is that I make
it. You got a pre-order already.
Oh,
pre-order. Man, I don't know where you at, but it's a LCS. They better get it. They better have it.
Oh, thanks, man. That's so cool. No, but my writing so far tends to be quite lean. I get to the point too quick. I'm trying to, I don't know. And so I try to be careful to, telling the story a lot with images and with the page
Oh,
layouts.
I
Sort of,
love that. I do the same, Warwick, about myself. I've been told when I want to do something, I want to be quick to the point. So, how did you discipline yourself to not do that as a writer? I'm pretty sure many writers probably want to do the same, and they probably don't know how can they stop themselves.
well, it's practice. I mean, this is, and I've got loads to learn. A lot, I've got a lot more to try and sort of work out. But it was trying to work out better ways to sort of to tell the story, and so there's lots of pauses. I mean, some of the sort of the slightly more comic bits in it as well, some of the jokes, but also some of the serious parts as well. It sort of the written word sort of is less, and so sometimes trying to tell it with panels or with actions, because sometimes it's just trying to get it right and to see, and so also see how the drawings look, because you can, if you've got something you had some dialogue that's going to go in there, but you've managed to draw it in such a way that it's already communicated without the dialogue, you could leave it out. But if you think that maybe the point's not getting across as well, maybe you could sort of add a bit of dialogue, sort of get something else to fit in there. So it's good to do the two together, because I can, I've got the script. I mean, my way of working anyway, it starts with drawings. So I'm drawing before I've written the script, because I'm working this all out in my head.
Really? So you have this very more visual way of creating.
Yeah. It's get down on paper, and so I've got thumbnails, pages sizes that are this big, with just these ideas of camera, views and how.
I'm picturing when you're doing boxes with stick figures. Like, okay, maybe this.
Yeah. That's it. And then I know what the script is. So then I get the script together. But even then, it's not solid. And that was something I learned from Mike's scripts, because he would, the script was there. It was almost like bullet points. I'd draw it, do the roughs, and then he could come back. And if he wanted to adjust the dialogue to then fit, he could do that. So it's good doing the two together, because as long as you keep a tight rein on it, don't let it run away, because you could keep changing things forever and then your book will never get finished. But it's a bit of freedom to sort of bounce back off. You've got the script and you think that looks good, and then you get the artwork and you're looking at that. So maybe you could go back and work a bit more on the script if needed, or leave it as it is.
I want to ask you here, man, because you said, okay, this is a journey, you're always learning, right? But you apparently are doing an amazing job. What do you think has been maybe the greatest lesson you've learned in the journey?
Well, there's some greatest lessons that I can see, but I haven't learned my lesson, and that is, work hard, keep on top of it, get yourself a schedule and stick to it.
A discipline at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is it. Getting disciplined, and there's other stuff that you forget. Keep an eye out. Keep your eyes peeled. Just watch what everyone else is doing. There's so many people making such amazing stuff, and you're in trouble. I get in trouble. I'm writing a book. I'm trying to do the artwork for a book, and I'm getting the other ideas, and you just sort of, your world's getting smaller, because I'm just looking at this stuff, and there's people making just amazing things all around. So keep your eyes peeled. Watch what everyone else is doing. Have a look.
And look at Luis. He's very curious as a fan that is about to pick up this book. How long does it usually take to finish a comic like Falconspeare? Thank you, Luis, for that great question.
Well, Falconspeare was okayed. What was it? Lockdown. We had lockdown in February, March.
Oh wow! So this is a lockdown book.
This lockdown book. It was just going over. The ideas were there. The proposal was there, and it was just as everything, pencils down, everything stopped, and I thought, well, that's it. I'm fine. That's okay. Well, we're back to Mr. Higgins again, where every possible, sort of, opportunity, every gate closes, and then, or the opportunity was there. But then a few weeks later, they came back and said, go for it. So So that was, and it was finished middle of last year, but it was through sort of a weird lockdown experience. So that's not an ideal one. I think
it's been weird for everybody, my brother. Don't you worry.
Yeah. For Lewis's question, Mr. Higgins was the same size, and that was January to May.
Okay.
So those years.
Okay. About 5 months, right?
Yeah, that was about 5 months. I had a bit of Helena Crash to finish and a bit of Samurai Jack to start, but that was it. Yeah, so.
The way you guys, it takes hard work, though. This is what it is. This is the process of comics, right?
Yeah. Time and effort.
Time for sure. So I before we go, I always love to give people their flowers. So I just want to say thank you, Warwick. Thank you for taking those steps, for being bold and sharing your creative vision, whether it's writing or drawing, and sharing this with us. I mean, not many people are bold like that. And whoever talks shit, middle finger salute, because you are a king, and thank you for doing what you do. It's amazing. You entertain me. This book, again, like I tell many others, and this is what I love about what I do, when I meet people like you that actually write stuff that really want to take me outside of this world, right? Take me away from the news, take me into this whole awesome fantasy world where for at least 30 minutes, I'm not here, I'm there. And job well done. It's beautifully written, beautifully drawn. I can't wait to see the remainder of the series. I mean, you're working with legends, and you know what? That means you are yourself a legend, my brother. So I'm happy to have, I'm blessed to have spoken to you, to be honest.
Oh man, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been great to speak to you, and you're very kind as well.
No, man, don't worry about it. So everybody, it's right there. You got to follow Warwick on Insta, all right, at WOCCO, or on Twitter at Warwick JC. Please check out his Patreon too. So before we go there too, what's up with the Patreon? Are you up to doing commissions and stuff like that? What's going on, bro? I think I may need an Omega commission, by the hands of Warwick with my big beard. I wonder how you'll do this.
Patreon's really slow. It's gentle. I love the idea of Patreon.
But what's up with the Patreon? What are we doing there?
It's the one level, lowest.
Thank you, Luis.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. But it's one level. It's just the low. It's just the low. But I got inkyknuckles.com.
Inkyknuckles.com. Hey.
Commissions. That's the guy. Go see Cam at Inky Knuckles. He's got a good roster of artists, but I'm on that with those guys. But the Patreons, it's low. It's nice and sleepy. You pay $3, and there's stuff on there. But I just want to build it up. I want more stuff on there. Want more stuff to go. But
he's gonna give you teasers for everything he does to the Falconspeare, even more, especially when he starts getting into his own creator-owned projects. Because I think this guy is sick enough to do some of the wildest stuff that you've ever read. But if you want to get this, go check out Dark Horse Comics right now. It give you the download. But please visit LCS, and again, please follow Warwick. I mean, you won't be disappointed. Homie is already working with legends. This is a future legend right here. I'm happy to have spoken with him. God bless my brother. Man, you have a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining me now today and chit-chatting. I know it's late for you. Thank you for tuning in. Folks, you know what the outro tells you to do. It tells you all that wonderful information. And with that, gracias, mi gente. ¡Huepa! Hasta la próxima. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.